Hello, boys and girls. So today we're going to go back to Christopher Church Mouse and see what he's up to. Remember, we've done some stories about him before, but this one is called the Potluck Supper, and I'm sure you all remember what a potluck is. Remember when we used to all bring food to the church and all eat together? Well, this is what happened at a potluck, and the verse that we've got today is Proverbs 15:27. He that is greedy of gain troubleth his own house. And we'll find out what happened to Christopher today. Christopher Church Mouse sat up in his sardine can bed, yawned louder, and hopped out of bed. All the while he was thinking, what's so special about today? Then he remembered, tonight is the potluck supper at church. Christopher sighed contentedly as he thought of all the food the ladies would be bringing. There would probably be fried chicken, baked beans, maybe even apple pie with cheese. He licked his whiskers and gave a happy little squeal. Time for breakfast, called Mama Church Mouse. Christopher's Mama and Papa were leaving that morning to visit some of Mama's sisters. While sipping his tea, Christopher thought, I'll get some help and we'll be able to gather even more food at the potluck. Christopher wrote his list of helpers on a chewing gum wrapper and found he had quite a crew. Then, with the list in hand, he visited each of the mice. Not one refused to help. Now all he had to do was find a place big enough to store all the food. While Christopher was thinking of the best place for the storeroom, his Mama came into the kitchen. What are you up to this morning? Said Mama. Oh, nothing, said Christopher. He thought it was best Mama and Papa didn't know his plan. Mama and Papa were already careful to take only leftovers from the church kitchen. They never touched any food until the people had eaten all they wanted. Papa and I are leaving now, Christopher, said Mama, giving him a hug and a kiss. You be a good little mouse. Obey Grandpa Church Mouse. We'll be back tomorrow. When Mama and Papa had gone, Christopher thought again of his plan to get food. He wished he could store all the food close to his own home. Then he could get to it more easily than the other mice. He planned to work harder than the others, so why shouldn't the food be close to him? He thought of the old storage room next to his bedroom. He could make it bigger while Mama was away, and she wouldn't even know about it. That afternoon, Christopher finished making the storeroom bigger in time to scurry down and watch the ladies arrive with their food. Oh my, the smell was enough to drive a mouse wild. From his lookout on top of the piano, Christopher wondered if people would ever stop eating. Finally, the pianist started playing. With a big jump, Christopher scurried down the back of the piano and across the floor into the kitchen, giving a shrill little shriek, which was a signal for his helpers to come. He began to speak orders. Hurry, fellows! Their program will only be an hour. They'll soon be coming to clean up the kitchen. Hurry, grab the chicken leg and pie. Soon all were moving in smoothly, and Christopher looked around to see what he could take. Then he saw the open refrigerator door. With some effort, Christopher hopped up on the cabinet and then jumped to the refrigerator door. With a big heave, he swung on the door and soon was inside on the bottom shelf. What he saw made him whistle. There was the biggest round of cheese he'd ever seen. Whew, what a find! Christopher tried to figure out how to break the cheese into small enough pieces to take it to his storeroom. Just then, Grandpa Church Mouse jumped up beside him. Well, Christopher, what are you up to? Oh, hi, Grandpa. Look what I found, he squeaked. Will you help me get this cheese home? Grandpa peered at him and said, Why, Christopher, I'm surprised. You know that would be greedy. This isn't leftover cheese. It is a brand new one. You know we only take leftovers." "Oh, come on, Grandpa," pleaded Christopher. "Chris, my boy," said Grandpa, "we have plenty of leftovers out here. Don't be greedy." And with that, Grandpa jumped out of the refrigerator, leaving Christopher all by himself. But Christopher wouldn't listen to Grandpa. He whistled for the others to come and help him. The other mice stopped and peeked up with their ears as he whistled. Just then Grandpa said, "Wait, mice. We mustn't take that cheese. It isn't leftover. We've all this other food. Let's not be greedy, children." The other mice looked up at Christopher and then back at Grandpa. "Grandpa's right," they said, and began to carry away the crumbs of the leftovers. "You mice are making a mistake," yelled Christopher, but no one was listening. So Christopher started ripping the cheese apart and carting it back to his wagon, to his storeroom. It was hard work with no help, but he managed to get most of all the cheese stored before the program was over. This took Christopher so long that he wasn't able to get any other crumbs. But as long as he had the cheese, nothing else mattered to Christopher. That night he proudly looked over his storeroom, almost filled with his cheese. He wouldn't have to work all winter. After a delicious midnight snack of cheese, Christopher crawled happily into bed. "I won't even have to leave my own home for food," he thought proudly to himself. "This is one time Grandpa was wrong. Everything is just fine. Mama and Papa won't even know about my cheese. I'll have it all to myself." The next morning, Christopher woke up and realized it was winter. He knew that soon the caretaker would turn on the furnace, and then his little home would be snug and cozy. Usually he dreaded winter because it was so hard to find food. But not this winter. While the others were scurrying for food, he could play. He had plenty of cheese for the whole winter. Later in the morning, the little church mouse home got warmer and warmer. Christopher curled up in a big chair to read. "And I have all this cheese too," he thought. In the afternoon, Christopher noticed a very peculiar smell. What was it? He darted from corner to corner trying to find it. Could it be his boots? No, it was even worse. Mama and Papa were still away, so he couldn't ask them. By the evening, the smell was so bad, Christopher could hardly stand it. "Maybe Grandpa will know," he thought. So he scurried to Grandpa's little home. He knocked loudly and heard Grandpa say, "Come in." Grandpa was sitting in his rocker, quietly rocking. Grandpa, don't you smell it?" shouted Christopher. "Smell what, my boy?" said Grandpa. "The smell, that awful smell," gasped Christopher. "Can't say I do, Chris." "But Grandpa, you must smell it," Christopher said, making a terrible face. "It's awful." "Don't smell it in here, do you, boy?" said Grandpa. "Why, no, I don't," answered Christopher, sniffing the air. "Come to our house and tell me what it is." "I know what it is, Christopher," said Grandpa sadly. "You do?" asked the little mouse. "I've got to find out before my parents come home." "It's the cheese, Christopher." "The cheese?" squealed Christopher. "Yes, the cheese. A very bad smelling cheese. Not that now that the furnace is on, the smell will get worse." "But Grandpa, you didn't tell me," began Christopher. "You wouldn't listen, son. I told you not to be greedy." "But Grandpa, I can't stand it. What can I do?" squealed Christopher. "Mama and Papa will be so upset." "Yes, they will, Chris," Grandpa said sadly. "You'll have to get rid of the cheese." "But who will help me?" asked Christopher. "I can't do it alone." "Oh, yes, you can," said Grandpa. "You got it all by yourself, so you'll have to get rid of it all by yourself." Christopher left quietly. When he got near his home, he could smell the cheese. It was even worse than before. He'd have to get rid of the cheese tonight before Mama and Papa came home. So he began carting the cheese out behind the church. This work was much harder than hauling the cheese from the church kitchen. Christopher had to cart the cheese a long way from the church so the people wouldn't be bothered by the smell. The smell made him feel sick all over. So he put a clothespin on his nose, but he could still smell the cheese. Just as Christopher was taking a wagon load through the door, Mama and Papa returned. "Why, Christopher, why aren't you in bed?" said Mama anxiously. "Grandpa said he would look after you for us." "He did, Mama. He knows I'm not in bed," replied the little mouse. "What are you doing?" demanded Papa. "And what is that smell?" "Oh my," coughed Mama, wrinkling her tiny nose. "Oh my, what is that horrible odor?" "It's the cheese," muttered Chris. "What cheese?" questioned Papa suspiciously. "You aren't making sense." "This cheese," said Christopher, pointing to the wagon. Papa took a pawful of cheese, holding it to his nose. He sniffed and then drew it back in the wagon. "Ooh," he said disgustedly. "Even mice won't eat that stuff. Only humans like cheese that's strong." "Where did you get it, son?" Papa asked. "From the church kitchen," answered Christopher. "I've got the storeroom next to my bedroom full of it." "Oh my," Mama gasped, wiping her eyes. "You'll have to get rid of it right away," she said sternly. "I won't have that smelly stuff here." "I know, that's what I'm doing now," Christopher squealed miserably, hoping his Papa might help him. "I can't believe Grandpa would let you do this," worried Papa. "He didn't," said Christopher forlornly. "He told me I was being greedy." "And you disobeyed him, didn't you?" continued Papa solemnly. "Yes," nodded the sad little mouse. "Oh, Papa, I thought if I got all this cheese and stored it, I wouldn't have to work. I'd be able to play." "And you thought you'd keep it all to yourself, didn't you?" interrupted his Papa gently. By now, Christopher was in his Papa's arms, and Papa was wiping his tears. "Oh, Chris, what a hard lesson to learn. You've been disobedient and very selfish and greedy. I wish I could help you take the cheese away, but I can't. You'll have to do it yourself, so you will learn not to be greedy." And with that, Mama and Papa went to Uncle Rudy's and left poor Christopher to get rid of the cheese. As Christopher worked all that night to get rid of the cheese, he was learning a lesson. We can find it in the Bible. "He that is greedy of gain troubleth his own house." Proverbs 15:27. Chris was learning a very valuable lesson that children must also learn. When we want things all for ourselves, we often end up in trouble, just like Christopher. You can be sure Christopher was much wiser mouse the next potluck supper. And we need to learn that too, don't we? We need to share, not to be greedy. Well, thanks for listening. Bye for now.